Hello and welcome to another session of Bob the Trader GPT. So I've got on my screen here the British pound US dollar, and I'm going to walk you through a trade. Um, this is our signature TLV. TLV stands for this trend line violation right here, and then a formation of 1, 2, 3 down. And at that point number 3, we did a sell because we hit our Fibonacci bounce recovery and did a sell right in there, and it went down. So just for reference sake, I'm going to take us through training for this particular one. Just bear with me a second.
Today I want to walk you through one of the most powerful profit-producing patterns I have seen in the market for years. This is the TLV.123 pattern. I have seen it again and again, especially in the London and New York trading window. And once you understand what is happening from left to right on the chart, you start to see that this is not random. This is a structure. This is a footprint. This is a pattern created by real money moving through the market. Let's start on the far left side of the chart. The first thing we see is a downtrend. This is important. The market is moving lower, making lower highs and lower lows. Price is being controlled inside a descending structure. That tells me the market is still under bearish pressure. It also tells me there is a trend line in place. That trend line matters, because later it will be violated. That is where the whole setup begins. Now keep your eye on that downtrend. At this stage, many traders are still thinking sell, sell, sell. They believe the existing trend is going to continue. But then something starts to change. Price stops falling cleanly, and the market begins to stabilize. Then suddenly we get a push upward. This is the next key moment. We arrive at point 1. Point 1 is the exact same location as the breakout and the trend line violation. This is critical. Point 1, BO, and TLV all happen at the same place. That is the spot where price breaks the previous downtrend structure. It violates the old bearish trend line and breaks out. This is the first signal that the market may be changing hands. This is not just a random candle. This is where big money starts to show its footprint. Why? Because the candles usually become much larger, much stronger, and much more directional than the bars before them. This is where the banks and algorithms begin forcing price out of the old trend. Retail traders are often still trapped in the old downtrend idea. But smart money has already started to turn the market. Once point 1, the breakout, and the trend line violation happen, the market launches into leg 1. Leg 1 is the impulse move. This is the first aggressive expansion upward. It is fast, directional, and strong. This is where the market leaves the old downtrend behind and starts running. On the chart, you can see that price climbs hard into point 2. Point 2 is the top of leg 1. This is the first major push and the first obvious expansion phase. Now here is the important lesson. Leg 1 is powerful, but it is not always the safest place to enter. Many traders chase leg 1 after it is already extended. That is risky. Why? Because after a strong impulse move, the market often needs to pause, rebalance, and pull back. That is exactly what happens next. After point 2, price begins to retrace. This pullback moves down into what I call the trade range, or TR. This is the consolidation phase. This is where the market moves sideways to down, often forming a W-like structure or a choppy rebasing structure. This is not weakness in the pattern. This is actually part of the setup. Point 3 is the bottom of the trade range. This is another critical part of the pattern. We have point 1 at the breakout and trend line violation, point 2 at the top of leg 1. And point 3 at the bottom of the trade range. This is the 1-2-3 structure that helps define the setup. So what is really happening inside the trade range? This is where banks are reloading. This is where the market is absorbing orders. This is where price pulls back, often toward the 50% area of leg 1, and begins to consolidate. Many traders get chopped up here because they do not understand what the market is doing. They think the move has failed. But often the opposite is true. This is the reload zone before the next move. This is also why patience matters. Instead of chasing leg 1, I want to watch the trade range carefully. I want to see whether the market holds structure. I want to see whether the lows hold. I want to see whether price begins to turn back up from the bottom of the range. Once the trade range confirms support and the market begins to push higher again, that is where the opportunity becomes very attractive. Now we move to the most important part of the chart, the entry into leg 2. The entry into leg 2 happens as price starts breaking upward out of the trade range and confirms that the pullback is over. This is the money phase. Why is this the money phase? Because by now, several things have already happened. First, the old downtrend has already been broken. Second, leg 1 has already proven that buyers are in control. Third, the trade range has already created the reload and rebalancing zone. Fourth, the market is now showing continuation. This is why leg 2 is so powerful. Leg 2 is not a guess. Leg 2 is confirmation. When I see price hold the trade range, reject the lows, and start pushing upward with momentum, that is where I want to be involved. That is the entry zone I care about most. I am no longer trying to predict. I am following confirmed structure. I am following the footprint of institutional money. And then what happens? The market expands upward again. This is leg 2. Leg 2 is often the cleanest profit phase of the pattern. It is the continuation move after the reload. It is where the market often travels a distance similar to leg 1. That is why this setup can be so profitable. Once the trade range is complete and the breakout into leg 2 happens, price can move strongly and cleanly, and that is where traders can capture the real money in the pattern. So to summarize the flow from left to right on the screen, first, we begin with a real downtrend. Second, the market reaches point 1, where the breakout and trendline violation happen at the same place. Third, price expands upward into leg 1. Fourth, price reaches point 2, the top of leg 1. Fifth, the market pulls back and consolidates inside the trade range. Sixth, point 3 forms at the bottom of that trade range. Seventh, price begins to turn upward again and breaks into leg 2. And finally, leg 2 becomes the profit-producing move. That is the pattern. It is simple once you train your eye, but powerful because it reflects how real money moves. This is not about guessing tops and bottoms. This is about recognizing the moment when the old trend is broken, the first expansion happens, the reload phase is completed, and the continuation move begins. And that is exactly why this pattern matters. We can teach you this profit-producing pattern and how to use AI to overcome the big banks who are using AI to beat you in the markets. This pattern happens every day because big banks are making it happen. We can help you. Please visit us at Bob the Trader GPT.
Yes, great, thanks. So, with that in mind, let's go over this, because this is the exact pattern that we use every day at bobthetradergpt.com. So we had an uptrend here, right here, and that uptrend was broken very strong. We want a really, really strong break, and that is leg 1. So right here, this trend line violation, breakout, and point number 1 right there. Then we went down and did a trade range. So that's point number 2. Number 3 is the top of that trade range. And we did a sell right in here. And you can see a Fibonacci measurement on here. This went down, bounced back up to about the 50% of the Fibonacci measurement. So we did a sell in here and down it went. That happens in the markets every day, and that happened today, 8th of April 2026, and that's how we can help you recognize this pattern and profit from it. We do these live trading sessions as a technique to help you, but to get even further help in this pattern recognition and action recognition, we can help you if you come to bobthetradergpt.com and sign up as a member. We'd be happy to help you. It's a super good deal at $97, and we invite you and encourage you to come to bobthetradergpt.com. Thanks.